How to achieve financial freedom is the topic of today's video, and I think you guys are really gonna enjoy this because as someone who is on the cusp of being financially free at 31 years old and having over $1 million invested, I've realized that financial freedom comes down to three things, which are number one, the math or how much money you need, number two, the execution of how you're going to hit your numbers, and number three, the mindset shift you need to make so that you stop making decisions based on money. So let's go through all three. But really quick, before I dive in, if you're new to the channel, welcome. I'm Sean, a seven-figure entrepreneur and investor, and the topic of financial freedom is very important to me because when I think about the type of videos I do on this channel and my other channels and why I focus so heavily on business and side hustles and investing and leveraging your time and money is because I love the idea of achieving financial freedom and living a life that you love. But sometimes money can get in the way of that. And look, I don't want to exaggerate, but growing up, money was always a point of tension. It was something that we needed in order to survive. I watched my dad work 2 full-time jobs, that's 80 hours a week, and my mom would work a night shift at a hospital so that she could take care of my brother and I during the day. And I knew that one day I didn't want to stress myself out or my family out with money issues. So now at 31 years old, I'm very close to achieving my financial freedom. And by the way, none of this is financial advice. I just want to share with you exactly what I've done. All right, now let's dive into everything, starting with number one, the math. So let's define financial freedom first. To me, it simply means that you have enough income, savings, or investment that can pay for your future lifestyle and household expenses without you having to rely on actively working. This is also very similar to the concept of early retirement or traditional retirement, but I don't like retirement because usually you're locked into a lifestyle, right? You fix your expenses, you fix your income, and basically you limit your future decisions. And yeah, you may be happy with your life right now, but what if you do want to take an extra trip, or what if you do want to buy something nice for yourself? Well, when you have financial freedom, you can do some things without having to worry about how it will affect your freedom. All right, so let's go ahead and do some math with an example. Step one is to determine your core living expenses, i.e. your home, your car, your insurance, all the necessary things that we spend money on every month. Now, the average American household spends about $50,000 a year, but we know there's some discretionary spending in that, so let's use $40,000 per year for step one. Step two is to determine your discretionary lifestyle expenses, your restaurants, your concerts, your vacations, all the things you don't need, but of course you want, which for this example, we'll say that's $10,000. Now in step three, what we're gonna do is actually double the lifestyle expenses because remember, we wanna have room to spend more money if we want to. And then in step four, you're gonna add up all your annual expenses, which in this example is gonna be $60,000, and then multiply it by 25 to figure out exactly how much money you need to invest in order to withdraw 4% of your annual expenses without depleting your investment. This is also known as the 25X rule. So bringing the numbers all together, we could estimate that the average American household would need $1.5 million in order to attain financial freedom. But if you're watching my channel, then you're definitely not average. So you may want to play around with the numbers and figure out exactly how much money you would need to become financially free. For example, looking at things for myself, I estimate that I spend about $10,000 a month in core and lifestyle expenses. So my magic number is $3 million in investments. And as I mentioned, I'm 31, I'm very close to hitting that number. I'm about 800K away, but how did I get there? Let's talk about that some more with number two, income and saving or execution part one. Now, once you know your magic number, then it's time to figure out how you're actually going to get there. Let's run some scenarios, okay? Let's say that you make $4,000 per month in income, but then you spend $4,000 a month. So you're living paycheck to paycheck and you're basically saving $0. And obviously, if you want to have $1 million or more invested, then you have to start saving. So in scenario A, you cut back, you live frugally, and as a result, you dramatically reduce your expenses to $2,000 a month and you're able to save $2,000 a month. And if you're young and you continue to save and invest, then over 30 years, historically, you should have about $1 million by the time you reach your retirement age. But the problem with that is, well, it takes 30 years, right? And maybe you can speed that up a little bit by getting a raise at work or maybe reducing your expenses even more, but it's not going to significantly move the time needle. Maybe you go from 30 to 25, but that doesn't really help too much. And plus, I know there's a lot of people who don't want to live frugally. They don't want to go backwards in lifestyle and prefer scenario B, where instead of cutting back your expenses, you focus on growing your income. So maybe that's picking up more hours or developing a new skill and making a career change or starting a new side hustle, or my favorite, starting a new business. And oftentimes when I see people prefer this scenario, they tend to leverage their credit. They tend to apply for small business loans as a means to increase their income. But if it doesn't pay off, then you end up in a worse financial position than you were in before, because now your monthly expenses have increased due to having to service more debt. And if it does pay off, then you have to be very careful of lifestyle creep, which is when you start spending more money because now you're earning more money. So I think the perfect scenario if you want to build wealth as fast as possible and reach financial freedom is C, where you merge the two prior scenarios together, where you are decreasing your monthly expenses while also looking at the most effective ways to increase your income without increasing your costs. And for me personally, that meant starting a business in the professional services industry, because those don't have a lot of startup costs, and at the same time, I'm able to keep my personal expenses very low. And there's a video on my YouTube channel where I talk about how I was able to leverage my business to decrease one of my biggest living expenses, which was rent, by offering marketing services in exchange for free rent, which was awesome. At the same time, I lived with my business partners and had 2 roommates for 4 to 5 years to keep my expenses low. Now, here's a very important note as you're on your journey to hit your magic number, because between saving and investing, you have taxes. Paying taxes is often the biggest hidden expense that many people forget to account for, but the beauty of it is you can actually hit your goal while saving money on taxes and building your investments up, as long as you strategize properly. Which, by the way, if you need help with tax planning or tax preparation, my team may be able to help you out. Go ahead and click the first link down in the description below to learn how to work with us. All right, let's move on to number 3 and talk about investing. So remember what we talked about earlier, right? We are looking to hit a magic number, which is the total amount of money you need invested into the market. And once again, the goal is to withdraw about 4% of your total investments and use that to maintain your financial freedom lifestyle. All right, so then what should you invest in? Well, there are all types of investments. And again, this isn't financial advice, but in my mind, you have paper assets, hard assets, digital assets, and then business assets. Under the category of paper assets, you have stuff like stocks and high yield savings accounts and cash on hand. Under hard assets, you have stuff like collectibles, jewelry, art, or real estate. Under digital assets, you may have stuff like software and code and NFTs. And to me, business assets combine all 3. A business could have paper assets where they're lending money while also having hard assets like a commercial real estate property, and then also have some digital assets in the form of code to make their operations much smoother. I feel like I'm describing a bank, but anyway, so as far as me, what I have chosen to do, well, I'm diversified in a little bit of everything. However, my investment portfolio is heavily weighted in business assets and rental property. And I do that because, number 1, that's what I know most, okay? And I'm a big believer in investing in things that you know about. And then number 2, as a business owner and investor, I am able to leverage the tax code in a way to pay as little taxes as possible by taking advantage of stuff like real estate losses and bonus depreciation and writing off my home office. So that's me. But I know there's a lot of people out there who are able to achieve financial freedom by simply investing into index funds like the S.i.p. 500 as a means to accomplish their goals. And some people view that as a safer option because the stock market has more historical data on returns versus a lot of other asset classes. But the bottom line is you want to pick an investment that you know that suits your career and your lifestyle. And if you're struggling, then you may want to consider hiring a professional financial advisor. All right, so I really do believe if you can do number 1, number 2, and number 3 in this video, then you're gonna have a shot at financial freedom. But even if you do have the money, even if you have everything everything invested, it doesn't mean you're free, which brings me to number 4, the mindset. Now, even though I haven't hit my magic number yet, it's just a matter of time, right? With my businesses combined making over 7 figures, my investment portfolio in good standing, in 3 to 5 years, I'm gonna be pretty good. But even though I know this, I still find myself hustling like I'm broke. I still work weekends. I still am super conservative with my spending. I still go out of my way to save an extra $2 to $3. And honestly, it's because I'm afraid of going broke. Because as I said, money has always been a point of tension in my life. So shifting my mindset to a freedom mindset is very difficult for me, because being able to achieve financial freedom in the first place requires a certain level of discipline and skills. And once you have developed that over the last 10 years or more, it can be very difficult for you to untrain your brain out of it. You know, my brain still sees new business ideas all the time, or instead of spending money on something I probably would enjoy, I would rather invest it because I know I could make more money. And trying to shift that mindset for me personally has been something I'm working on, and I don't have all the answers yet, but one thing I definitely have started to do is take on projects that I enjoy. Some of you may have noticed I've started doing some new interviews on my YouTube channel, and I'm doing that honestly because I'm enjoying meeting new people, I'm enjoying sharing their stories, and that's why I started doing it. Anyway, I'll definitely be documenting my journey on living a life of purpose and passion without being so focused on money. And by the way, if you have any thoughts or suggestions for me, I'm all ears. Tell me down in the comment section below. All right, so I hope you guys enjoyed my quick breakdown on how I am achieving financial freedom. If you did, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel. It really does help me out with the YouTube algorithm and encourages me to continue to create more videos like this. So thank you. Coming up next, I have 2 more videos you may enjoy as well. So check those out if you haven't already, and I'll see you over there.